Habari Gani, Mainduga Nadada. My brothers and sisters, I would like to speak to you on a very important subject today. You may not think it's important, you might overlook it as it occurs in your life, but it is very important to your perception and your perspective on the world and the problems you encounter. So my brothers and sisters, what I want to talk about with you today is the narrative. Do you know what the narrative is? The narrative is the story of events. It tells the story. Now, if you accept certain narratives, you have a certain perspective on the world. For instance, there's a narrative that says we are savages, that we never created anything, that we're a bunch of bloodsuckers, beggars, people who can't be trusted, low-level, intelligent idiots. That's a narrative. And if you accept that narrative and act on that narrative and perceive yourself through this narrative, then you will be an idiot in fact. So my brothers and sisters, the reason I want to talk about narrative today is because if you notice, in the campaign for the Democrats to elect a president in the next 2020 elections, the narrative goes like this. We need the person who can defeat Trump. That's the narrative. Let me tell you what's wrong with that narrative. You see, if we accept that narrative and act on that narrative, we may begin to believe that all we have to do is elect Trump and everything is going to be okay. You see, this is false narrative, for black people anyway. Because you see, we have a different set of needs. We have to understand that that narrative that tells us all we got to do is defeat Trump is false for us, because we could help defeat Trump and still would not end up with a level playing field for everyone. Let me explain why or not. You see, white people are concerned about their descendants, their happiness, their success. So they are not going to fight against white privilege. You see, one of our main concerns and narratives should be, we need someone who's going to speak up for reparations, or who's going to defend reparations, or who will accept reparations, thereby creating a level playing field for everybody in the United States. Because you see, we start off on the playing field way behind everybody else, because everybody else has what their ancestors left them, but white people's descendants have what belongs to us. So you see, we need someone who's going to have a program that's going to include our visions, what we want, what we need, what's going to create a level playing field for us. Here, we could vote for someone and they could defeat Trump tomorrow, and we end up in a worse situation than we are in right now. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's about the narrative. The narrative. The narrative is the story of events. It tells you what it's all about. And if you accept the narrative, that's what your story is all about. That forms your perception of the world and your situation within it. Do you understand what I'm saying? Remember, it's about the narrative, the story, the connecting of events that creates the story. Now sure, I want somebody to beat Trump if they're going to also create a level playing field. That's our primary concern as black people in the United States who gave 255 years of their labor and didn't receive a dime for it. And what their ancestors left and should have had has been passed down to the master's children and provided privileges for them that we do not have. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's about the narrative. Get you a good dictionary and look up the word narrative and understand the narrative they're throwing on us today has nothing to do with creating a level playing field for us as black people, as the descendant of slaves in this United States of America. Do you understand what I'm trying to say to you at this time? If you do, my brothers and sisters, I have not wasted your time. And I'd like to say once again, peace and hotep to you, my Indugu na Dada.